All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashum, Yahushai, Ba'ashum, Rakakodash, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom. Now, if you've been, keeping up with the news and whatnot, the last 2 days have been very busy, very eventful. You have in the west coast of Babylon the Great in California, around that area, you have a bomb cyclone and an atmospheric river at the same time. So who knows what that'll bring to that area. Last week it was snowing in Northern California. Flooding happening all around the world. Wars going on, rumors of wars, and these are very turbulent times. The world. You look at the news from around the world, and these people are very unsure of what the times to come will bring. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So destruction to the world. This world is evil, wicked. Wickedness is roaming in the earth right now. Wickedness is ruling right now. This destruction needs to come. This needs to come so the earth can be cleansed. Yahushua is going to come and he's going to overthrow the wicked. Esau Edom, the so-called white man who's in rulership right now. Yahushua is coming. So 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So you heathen, you 2/3 Israelites, you inhabitants, citizens of the world, a destruction is coming to you. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So, like it says in Matthew chapter 24, when Yahushua was telling, signs of his coming, there'll be wars and rumors of wars, or earthquakes. Other places it says there'll be insurrections. There'll be civil wars. This place is divided on all levels. But the 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So the modern day sword is a gun, missiles, nuclear missiles. And this is the Lord willing, I'll get into these articles, but this is what the people are afraid of. They're afraid of a nuclear war. And here it is, you have the small hats in our land, and they're claiming to be the people, yet they're fighting a war on 7 fronts. And the world is in chaos, and it's only going to get worse. So we're telling you, starting with the apostles and elders on down, that we're the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. That we're the Hebrew Israelites. We're the people. We're the true Hebrew Israelites. We're the true people of the Bible. We're not, this isn't a metaphor. This isn't anything. We're those people. And our Lord Yahushua is returning to bring us back home. So, continuing on, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So this is World War III. This is ramping up. Eventually, all the troops are going to be gathered into the Valley of Yehoshaphat, which is in the Middle East. So, I'm going to go from here to this article. This is from, let's see. This is from aa.com.tr. And This is an article titled "Hungary Slams Biden's Approval for Ukraine to Strike Russia with U.S. Missiles." So, Hungary. Let me see. I believe. Are they part of NATO? Oops. Okay. So Hungary is a part of NATO, and if you know NATO, that's that's the beast. And Babylon the Great is that whore that sits on top of the beast. So any basically if you're riding on a beast, you're controlling that beast. So while different countries and part of NATO, like Hungary for example, they might disagree with what Babylon the Great, the U.S. does, but ultimately, the U.S. has a say so because they're in control. They veto everybody. So Hungary, they're disagreeing with this. I just had to make sure that they were part of NATO. But back to this article, Hungary and Slovakia, not to keep rambling, but Hungary, it's showing that there's division. Even though they're supposed to be united, they're supposed to have this organization. It's showing that they're divided. There's people, against this. There's countries against this. What they're doing, and eventually, all these things that Babylon the Great, this whore, is doing, is going to lead to their destruction. It's going to lead to these other, NATO nations, every nation that has, a nuclear arsenal is going to fire their weapons here on Babylon the Great. So Hungary slams Biden's approval for Ukraine to strike Russia with U.S. missiles. Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó describes White House's approval for Ukraine as extremely dangerous step that could expand conflict, and this conflict needs to expand. There needs to be a reason, for the troops to gather in the Valley of Yehoshaphat. There needs to be, World War III has to happen, and this is all the work of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He's in control of everything. So those hooks are being put into Gog, which is Russia's jaws. They're not. Ukraine is at a war with Russia, but Ukraine is being backed by U.S. and NATO forces. So this is only provoking Russia more and more. So eventually, there's going to be an all-out war, and I'll just keep going. So this is from Istanbul. This was from the 18th of November. I believe that was yesterday. So this is from Istanbul. Hungary on Monday slammed the U.S. decision to allow Ukraine to use American-supplied long-range missiles to strike deep inside Russian territories, warning that it could escalate the conflict to a global scale, a World War III. And this is going to bring more people into it. This is going to bring more and more countries into this. This is what they're worried about. They're worried about World War III. Because what's going to happen in World War III? And this ain't going to be, in the old times. Let me see here. This is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. In ancient battles, you had the two armies, facing each other and charging the battle. The swords and shields, yelling. It's confusing noise. Yelling, battle cries, and sword hitting armor, sword hitting shield, spear, horses, running, arrows flying. It's very confusing, that confusing noise. and garments. You would get bloody. And you have blood on your garments, blood on other men's garments, blood everywhere. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this battle, this new warfare, this is what these nations are afraid of. This is what they're trying to prevent. This is what they don't want to happen, but it's going to happen. This is thermonuclear destruction. This is ICBMs. And this is what they're afraid of with the escalation. Because with this escalation, what else happened? Russia, let's see. And Salaki, I'm all over the place, but this is, very exciting. This is Russia updates nuclear doctrine, and this is from today. I mean, you could probably go to any one of these, but I'm not sure. These sites, a lot of these sites are on paywalls, so it makes it annoying to look at. Let me see here. Let me just go to news. See, the BBC says. Okay, that's good. So Russia approves changes to nuclear. Putin approves Putin approves changes to Russia's nuclear doctrine. Vladimir, and this is from BBC. This is from 12 hours ago. It says Vladimir Putin has approved changes to Russia's nuclear doctrine, setting out new conditions under which the country will consider using its arsenal. The doctrine now says an attack from a non-nuclear state, if backed by a nuclear power, will be treated as a joint assault on Russia. So now, what Zelensky's been asking, I think, for a couple of months now, that he wants nuclear weapons. But now, Russia's saying in return, like, if we're even attacked, now let me read that again. The doctrine now says an attack from a non-nuclear state. Ukraine does not have nuclear weapons at the moment. If backed by a nuclear power, most NATO countries have nuclear, capabilities. The U.S. is the number one, and the U.S. is the number one backer. Will be treated as a joint assault on Russia. So, this is what the man from Hungary, the representative of Hungary, was worried about. This is only escalating. The update was proposed in September and rubber stamped on Tuesday, the 1,000th day of the war with Ukraine. It also follows Washington's decision on Monday to allow Ukraine to fire long-range U.S. missiles into Russia. Under the changes, a large attack on Russia with conventional missiles, drones, or aircraft could meet the criteria for a nuclear response, as could an attack on Belarus or any critical threat to Russia's sovereignty. Any aggression against Russia by a state which is a member of a coalition would be seen by Moscow as aggression from the whole group. So they don't sound like they're playing around. The updates expand the number of countries and coalitions and the kinds of military threats subject to a possible nuclear response, according to the state-run news agency TASS. So, Babylon the Great has threatened nuclear response too throughout the years, but just showing this is could be seen as an escalation, because you don't know if they're going to do it or not, but we're hoping that they do. But we just have to see. So back to this article. Let's see. Hungary's Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó, in a statement posted on Facebook, described the White House's approval for Ukraine as an extremely dangerous step that could expand the conflict. He claimed that pro-war forces in the U.S. are ignoring the will of the people, who, according to him, are calling for peace rather than further escalation. And the people over here in Babylon the Great, for the most part, that are awake to what's going on, that awake for the most part of seeing how much money is being sent over to Ukraine and how they're broke over here. You're sending billions and billions of dollars over there. Meanwhile, your people over here are suffering. That's why they want peace. Like, hey man, what about us over here? That's what they're saying. But hey, peace ain't gonna happen. When they shall say peace, peace, then sudden destruction. That comes to mind. But he claimed that pro-war forces in the U.S. are ignoring the will of the people, and they are. They don't care anything about you peons. They don't care anything about you. Hey, y'all just cattle. He criticized U.S. politicians for failing to recognize the growing desire for peace, calling the announcement undemocratic. On Sunday, U.S. President Joe Biden approved Ukraine's use of U.S. supplied missiles to target deeper into Russian territory. This decision comes amid the presence of a significant number of Ukrainian troops already in Russia's Kursk region following their incursions in the first week of August, with the U.S. daily Politico claiming that they are expected to face large-scale offensive involving Russian and North Korean forces. So, with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's victory in the November 5th elections, many geopolitical experts believe he will shift Washington's policy towards Ukraine, having previously criticized American military aid to Kyiv. So, who knows? Because Trump is just, he's a puppet too. Who knows what's going to happen to him, but with him, but this thing is going to escalate. If anything, we know this is going to escalate because the scriptures tell us World War III is coming. Now, we don't say World War III exactly, but just look at the signs. And that's all I'm going to read from that article. So this is, let me see, where was I going to go from that? Escalation. Let me see here. Let me go here. Okay, yeah. This is Joel chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. So this is what the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua are doing. And we're telling you war is coming. And you see these different troops, different armies around the world. And the article mentioned that you got North Korean troops over there. This thing is over there in Russia on the front fighting in Ukraine. This thing is escalating. Joel chapter 3 and verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So these armies are preparing for war. That's what's on the menu coming up. It's not peace. This isn't a time of peace. The signs of peace are not there. You're seeing wars and conflicts and storms and earthquakes, different things happening, chariot sightings all over the world. And it's beautiful because the salvation of Israel is near. Beat your plow. Joel chapter 3 and verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. So beat. This is showing that it's not. This isn't a time of peace. Because in a time of peace, you can farm, you can work on agriculture, you can do all that. Now is a time of war. So you're shifting your focus from agriculture to, war supplies. Like it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. So you're creating an arsenal. These different militaries around the world are building up their arsenals. You know, what is it? Ukraine just got those long range missiles. India is testing out their hypersonic missiles. You know, what are they doing that for? What is India testing out hypersonic missiles for? Just for fun? Just to see if they can do it? No, they're preparing for war. Let the weak say I am strong. So even all these weak nations, these third world country nations that were once weak, they're even getting arsenals now. You know, getting their armies built up. Verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. So, all the heathen, this is World War III. Thither caused thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. So this is where they're going to be gathered, in the Middle East. It's going to continue to escalate, and eventually it's going to be a whole battle taking place in the Middle East. And you see it's already started. You know, the least of the flock, you know, those small hats in Israel, you know, they have the conflict going on in the whole region over there. That's it for that. I have another article here, and I'm not gonna read it. I didn't read the whole article, but I'm not gonna really go. I'm not really gonna go through the whole thing. So this is from the BBC. This is Nordic neighbors release new advice on surviving war. So why would they do that? If this is a time of peace, you know, like it should be, you know, according to the small hats, they're back in the land. You know, they're back in their land or whatever, and there should be peace. But here it is, there's war. You know, the exact opposite. Should tell you something. You know, this is Nordic neighbors release new advice on surviving war. This is 2 days ago. On Monday, millions of Swedes will start receiving copies of a pamphlet advising the population how to prepare and cope in the event of war or another unexpected crisis. In the case of crisis or war, has been updated from 6 years ago. So they're updating this. This is 2018. Now they updated it because of what the government in Stockholm calls the worsening security situation, by which it means Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The booklet is also twice the size. So not only the Swedes are seeing it, in Finland, they released the same thing over there, a similar thing, another pamphlet. They preparing for war, preparing for conflict, because this is going to spread. Like the guy from, you know, the representative of Hungary had said, this is going to spread. You know, this is going to escalate. And what are they doing? They're preparing. So neighboring Finland has also just published its own fresh advice online for preparing for incidents and crises. And Norwegians have also recently received a pamphlet urging them to be prepared to manage on their own for a week in the event of extreme weather, war, or other threats. Now, considering this time that's coming, the time that we're entering into, the time that we're expected to ramp up, to get worse for everybody across the entire world. And this ain't gonna be just, you know, hopefully it'll be a week, but it's gonna be longer than a week. You know. Oops. You know, no telling how long it's gonna be, but you know, don't expect this to be, you know, a couple of days or whatever. So this is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 4. And these are the words that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear and not of peace. And you can see that. Hey, is that not a fearful, message that they're putting out? They're preparing for war. This is what you have to do. We're sending you pamphlets with information, what you need to do, be prepared for this and that, prepare for unexpected things to happen. That's not peacetime talk. Peacetime talk is like, hey, how to get your tan. This is a new recipe. This is the fashion or whatever. Here's what's on the menu for this week. Oh, look at the music. This ain't peacetime talks. This is wartime talk. This is scary times. These are unstable times, unsure times for these people. So again, Jeremiah 30 verse 5, for thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So no peace. It doesn't matter. Hey, the people want peace. That's not the message that's going out. That's not the overall message. Hey, they might want peace, but that's not what they're getting. You want, the soup of the day is war. This is Jeremiah 30 verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. So, hey, do you see men running around? Why do I see men running around? Like women in travail, women that are getting ready to have a baby. Their hands on their loins, not knowing what to do. And why? Because, hey, the men are going to be panicking. The men that are going to be in these situations, they aren't going to know what to do. These pamphlets are going to go out the window. Jeremiah 30 verse 7, at last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. So this is a day like never before in history. And it's not just a single day. This is a period of time. It might be, a month, 6 months, a year. Don't know exactly how long, but hey, this is going to be a terrible time. This is going to be a time like never before in history. All combined, all of history combined. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be delivered out of it. Who? The elect of Israel. The elect are going to be delivered out of this, especially here in Babylon the Great. Hey, the elect are going to be delivered. Because this place is set to be destroyed. But let me see here. Back to this article. You know what? That's pretty much it for the article. Because I went and got one of the pamphlets. Let's see which one I got. Because I think I read this first link here. In case of crisis or war. So I'm just gonna go to this. Yeah, that's the one. So this is the PDF, and I'm just gonna skim through it. I didn't read all of it, but I read most of it earlier. So this is from, you click that link and it'll take you to the PDF. This is rib.msb.se. And this is the PDF called In Case of Crisis or War. This brochure is distributed to every household in Sweden on behalf of the Swedish government. The Swedish Civil Contingency Agency is responsible for the content. The brochure is available to order in Swedish, Easy Swedish, and English. Anyway. To all residents of Sweden, we live in uncertain times. Armed conflicts are currently being waged in our corner of the world. Terrorism, cyber attacks, and disinformation campaigns are being used to undermine and influence us. To resist these threats, we must stand united If Sweden is attacked, everyone must do their part to defend Sweden's independence and our democracy. We build resilience every day, together with our loved ones, colleagues, friends, and neighbors. In this brochure, you learn how to prepare and act in case of crisis or war. You are part of Sweden's overall emergency preparedness. So you go through the contents. So in uncertain times, it is important to be prepared. Military threat levels are increasing. We must be prepared for the worst case scenario. So this ain't no peacetime talk. No, they're worried. They're preparing for war. They're getting the civilians ready. They're making sure that everybody is ready for this. But hey, the time coming, ain't nobody gonna be ready for what's coming. Ain't nobody gonna be ready except for the elect to see Yahushua, to see those chariots. War, the ultimate threat to our freedom. When military violence is used to assume authority over us, our right to live a free and independent life is threatened. However, there are other ways beside armed conflict to influence and undermine our society. For example, cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, terrorism, sabotage. These types of attacks may occur at any time. Some are happening here and now. We can never take our freedom for granted. Our courage and will to defend our open society are vital, even though it may require us to make certain sacrifices. Hey, keep in mind, Sweden, they had the the chip there. That's where a lot of people are chipped. Just imagine that whatever happens there, keep in mind at the same time World War III is going on, Jacob's Trouble, all these things are happening. Hey, they're gonna introduce the CHIP. They're gonna make that mandatory. So, imagine that being a sacrifice. How to stay in that society. Man, shut up. If Sweden is attacked, we will never surrender. Any suggestion to the contrary is false. So they're saying they're not going to surrender. No, sir. Other serious threats. We also need to strengthen our resilience against other serious risks and threats, including extreme weather, dangerous pathogens, outages across important IT systems, organized crime. So they're Swedish defense. Sweden's total defense system comprises military and civil defense. Sweden is a part of NATO's collective defense. Military defense. Sweden's military defense protects Sweden and its NATO allies from armed attacks, defends our national borders, and aids in conflict resolution. It comprises the Swedish armed forces and government agencies whose core duty is to support Sweden's military defense. The civil defense involves everyone who lives in Sweden, alongside government agencies, regional authorities, municipalities, private sector, and nonprofit organizations. One of the most important tasks of the civil defense is to support the military defense. Another core task is to protect the population and ensure that essential public services are uninterrupted as far as possible. Even during times of war, essential public services include energy, healthcare, and transport. And Sweden and NATO. Sweden is a part of the military alliance NATO. The purpose of the alliance is that the member countries collectively will be strong, that it deters others from attacking us. So who can make war with the beast? That and it reminded me of in Daniel 2, that feet that were part iron and part clay, even though that's more going into the EU. But still, there's weaker parts in this. If one NATO country is nevertheless attacked, the other countries in the alliance will aid in its defense, all for one and for one for all. And that's BS, because I believe some countries that are a part of NATO were attacked and nobody did anything. So pretty much, this is a good read. It gives some, some I'd say some good or some decent advice. You know, for the most part, like finding water, other thing, finding water, finding shelter, which is all good things to know because hey, you'd expect, if you're in this truth, understanding what's happening, hey, eventually you're gonna have to be pilgrims on the earth. No telling what you're gonna be. So, learn as much as you can, but expect that don't rely on yourself. You're relying on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but it's still good to learn and have knowledge of certain things. Through all these situations that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we're looking for him, for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to deliver us. But like I'm trying to say, it's still good to know how to do things, how to, let's see, it is a seeking shelter, an air raid. They got home preparedness, heat. Basically things what to look for. What to do and how to do in certain situations. Now this is a good thing to look over because you might not even consider this. But this is pretty much it for this. Like I said, I think this is a pretty decent read to go over because this goes into a lot of things. And once you how do you say, this is like you these different nations, these different these heathen nations. We know the world is ruled over by Esau, Edom, the so-called the wicked. But this gives you, like reading these articles, seeing what they say, this gives you an insight into their mind, what they think. Because hey, this devil, he thinks his kingdom is going to last forever. He thinks, this war, we're never going to surrender. We're going to ride this out and we're going to be independent. But they don't know that maybe they do know, but they're not telling their people, but they don't know that Yahushai is coming, that Yahushai is coming and he's going to be the ruler over this world. He's coming to put these nations in subjection. Like all this is happening. Like these people don't know that. And this is like the Heavenly Father opened up our minds with the scriptures, or through the, he opened up our minds through the Spirit to understand these scriptures, to give us an insight into his mind. But we can see, through things like this, the minds of these people of the world, and the minds of these people of the world, it's not, they're fighting a losing battle. Their thoughts are empty. They're thinking that they're gonna rule forever, and they're not. Let's see. I just read that. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai cometh, for it is nigh at hand. So this day is coming. The day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is coming. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like. Neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So this is speaking of those ICBMs. This is a part of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's arsenal. This is part of his army. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is the Lord of hosts, which means the Lord of armies. Matter of fact, I think there was something else in this. And they had the civil defense shelters. You know what? This is back to the PDF. This is seeking shelter and an air raid. Seeking shelter during an air raid. If there is an air raid, you must immediately take cover in a shelter or a protective place. Choose the nearest one. You may also need to evacuate an area in the event of a possible military offensive. Warnings are broadcast through a variety of channels. Here, let me jump down. Cellars, garages, other places in which to seek shelter. Cellars, garages, below ground metro stations also provide cover during an air raid. Tunnels and walls can also offer some protection. Being indoors is better than outdoors, preferably in a room without windows. If you are outside and don't have time to take shelter, you must lie down on the ground, preferably in a small pit or ditch. When you hear the all clear siren, you may leave your shelter, help people who are injured or trapped. Nuclear weapons. The elevated global threat level increases the risk that nuclear weapons may be used. So Putin said, we're now updating, the nuclear, what it takes to use nuclear weapons. Basically, they're lowered the standards. We're attacked, such and so forth. We might use some nuclear. We might have a nuclear response. The elevated global threat level increases the risk that nuclear weapons may be used. During attacks in which nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons are used, take cover as you would during an air raid. Civil defense shelters provide the best protection. Radiation levels will lower drastically after a couple of days. So yeah, a bunker, whatever, a deep underground military bunker, that would probably be your best bet. But hey, if you're here in Babylon the Great, ain't nothing gonna save you, because there ain't no shelter, nothing. So again, Joel chapter 2 and verse 2, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And this is the nuclear, thermonuclear destruction that's coming. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. So there ain't no escaping, this judgment coming to Babylon the Great. These other countries are preparing whatever. If Yahweh Shem Yahushua wants that place to be destroyed, it's going to be destroyed. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua wants this place, Babylon the Great, to be destroyed. And it's describing a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. So this land here, Babylon the Great, comparing it to the Garden of Eden, a paradise. Even though this land is polluted, whatever, but in comparison to before and after, afterward, it's going to be a desolate wilderness, a desert. Nothing going to be able to grow here again. This is going to be a monument to what happens when wickedness is allowed to roam. Nothing is going to dwell here. Only unclean animals. Nobody's going to live here. Nobody's going to sell their merchandise here. Nothing. The appearance of them, Joel chapter 2 and verse 4, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. So these ICBMs, these are like an army, like I mentioned before. The noise that they make, it's comparing it to horses. Comparing it to the fire when you ever had a campfire or anything like that, the noise of stuff burning. You know, verse 6: before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. So, when people see these in the air, they like it says, you're gonna have an air raid alert. We have different alerts that pop up on our phone, tell us what's going on. You know, you have the Amber alerts, the whatever. And I think there was a presidential alert that went out. And when this alert goes out, it's gonna be too late for these people here. It's gonna be too late when the alert goes out, because where are you gonna go? There ain't gonna be nowhere to hide. Texas, the part of the Gulf or whatever where we are, I think it's either at sea level or below sea level or something like that. There ain't no bunkers here. There ain't nowhere to hide. And that goes for all Babylon the Great. There ain't nowhere to hide. This place is gonna be completely destroyed. So when they get that alert, take cover, take shelter. It's gonna be too late. They see them ICBMs in the air. They have the hypersonic missiles that can be here in 15, 30 minutes. The scriptures say that this place in 1 hour is going to be destroyed. Joel chapter 2 and verse 7: they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. So they're these ICBMs. These are set. They have a destination. They're not gonna be misfired and run into each other and blow up in the air. You're not gonna shoot them down. Nothing. These are set to do a job. These have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai on them, and they're gonna do what He commands. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall on the sword, they shall not be wounded. So they're like I just said, they're not gonna misfire. They're not gonna nothing. They got a destination to go to, and that destination is to destroy Babylon the Great. Verse 9: they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. So that wall of fire. It's going to be a wall of fire and a blast of wind. This is going to be very destructive. This is Joel Slack. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai will come as a thief in the night, into which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So describing that fervent heat. These ICBMs, these are just 100,000 degrees Celsius. Some of them. They can burn hotter than that. I'm not sure exactly, but these things are breaking down the elements, breaking down everything to the smallest compound, turning everything in front of them to ashes. Joel chapter 2 and verse 10: the earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. This place is going to be, there's going to be so much smoke going up into the air that it's going to be blacked out. Like the sun, you're not going to be able to see the sky. The smoke, how it says, the smoke of her torment ascendeth. I believe in Isaiah, this also says that the smoke shall go up for generations. And this place burning for a long time. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Oh, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? So this is a very terrible day that's coming. World War III is on the rise. This is beautiful times. The destruction of this wicked kingdom is close. So let me just see if there was anything else. I mean, that's pretty much the point. Like, ultimately, this thermonuclear destruction is coming. These different nations are preparing for war. They're afraid. They're telling their citizens to prepare, and you can see it. You can see World War III is here. It's only going to expand. It's only going to get worse. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. I must give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 the rest of the elect. Shalom.